and running.
You can't even read, dude.
Carol, I don't know that we've actually officially met. I'm Carol also.
I'm Carol also.
I was gonna say, you looked really kind of familiar, but,
It's just the name.
I was gonna say that too, it's just the name.
yeah, I knew she had to be cool.
So you want the mics hot then too, right?
They should be hot.
Now or
They are.
there?
You the applicant. Goes up there, I go for you. I believe people need to be able to do what they want with their property.
Thank you.
Now, are you an alternate here? Okay. So it looks quite likely, yeah.
What's that?
Looks likely that we're gonna need you up here.
No, see, that's the problem. It only makes sense that if somebody was missing, an alternate could fill in wherever the vacancy is. But I'm only an alternate if he misses.
Oh, only for,
I think it's something that
Okay,
needs to be changed.
I'll be more than happy to address the questions once the meeting starts.
Okay. All right, very good. Very good. So did you research the,
It didn't, I don't know,
I researched it a little.
I'm not sure. I think it's, right, we'll talk.
Do you know, do we have anything coming up for next month?
At this point, I do not know.
Okay.
I can tell you first thing in the morning.
All righty. Come on, turn off phone. I hold 6:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Ken,
Here.
Carol,
Here.
Jim,
Here.
Matt,
Present.
Wayne.
Okay. All right, can I ask everyone to stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Can I get a motion on the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
Approved. Do we have to take a roll on that? We don't have to, okay. All right, can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes from our meeting on January 21st?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second right here from Jim. Very good. Is there a township board report?
So we just had a township meeting last night, so I'll give you guys a synopsis of what happened there. We had some questions on we discussed the wellhead protection ordinance and had a few questions, so that's gonna go back and then we'll review.
protection?
Wellhead protection ordinance.
Okay.
So we'll review that again next month. We approved the storage container ordinances, as well as a road project for Fleming Road, that actually needs a complete redo. And then we also looked at landscape bids, lawn care bids, snow removal bids, engineering, standards and such. So we basically, that was just kind of normal course of business. So, we are looking at possibly doing some renovations in the township hall, so we discussed that a little bit as well, but we didn't take any action. So there were questions on the alternate position. I just want to address that, specifically since I know that there was some slanderous comments that were made prior to the meeting actually occurring. So the board alternate position is available for all boards, the Planning Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals as well, and that is an alternate to the board position. It's not an alternate for the entire commission. And that has been in effect for as far as I can remember, and I believe it's part of Robert's Rules of Parliamentary Procedure and the MTA governing body on the Opening Meetings Act. So it doesn't mean that Trustee Wilson, with his alarm, is an alternate for anybody if they're missing. Mm-hmm. It just simply means he's an alternate for me if I'm not here. He's been an alternate for me in the past for the Planning Commission, and some of those times when I've not been available, I've notified him that he needs to show up, and in those instances, he has. Mm-hmm. So that's what he's there for, as an alternate to the board.
And from what I understand, if there is an ongoing discussion that carries over to following meetings, and he has taken your position for the first meeting to hear that, he has to finish up and come back to the second meeting to complete that. You can't jump into the middle, can you?
I don't believe that to be the case.
I thought I read that.
Yeah. We've had several instances where discussions, particularly in the Planning Commission world, where ordinance discussion carries on from meeting to meeting because ordinances are quite large in discussion. And there have been various people who have, like, I was the board rep on the Planning Commission for quite some time. And so, in fact, a couple of those times where Mr. Wilson represented when I was out of town for business, we were discussing ordinances. So, no, I don't believe that to be the case.
Okay, good. Good. All right, very good. Is there anything else here that we need to go over?
No, that's it. Unless anyone has any questions.
Cursory, wellhead protection. I was rather shocked when we had that Mug and Bob's gas station up for review here, and it was in the wellhead protection. I mean, have they clarified this? I can't even believe they brought it to the table in that area.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would have to ask Howell Mason, i.e. Mug and Bob's, why they brought that to the table. I can't speak to them as far as why they did that. But the wellhead protection ordinances, we're working on it.
Okay.
There's just a couple clarifying points that need to be made.
Either of you have any other questions? No. Do we have a planning commission report? Report. Okay. Next on the agenda, is there any old business out here? Anybody? All right. On to the new business. We are here for the public hearing regarding Bailey Hassler Tolentino, PZBA 2025-01 for parcel number 4706-05-202-019, 4229 West Allen Road, Howe, Michigan. You are on Articles, Section 3.17, for area, height, and setback regulations and dimensional regulations. Requested variance to build an addition on an existing house within the setback areas. I understand you're the petitioner here. Can you give us a little synopsis on what's going on? That's up to you. Does she need to be on the mic? Yes, please.
Okay.
Can you state your name, please?
Oh, yes. Bailey Hessler Tolentino. So basically, I'm here today to ask for permission to go outside and do a zoning variance because we are expecting a fifth child due. I got married in August to my husband that has 4 children previously, and he had gotten divorced not too long before that, within the year before that, year or two. So basically, right now, we are in a very cramped space, and the housing market is crazy. And we haven't had any additional income. So we are trying to create more space for our growing family within a reasonable budget instead of buying all new. Right now, I'm locked in at a 2.99. We could afford that extra, 7% interest rate on a like a building loan or something of that sort, but I'm trying to keep our current interest rate at 2.99. Just, it makes more sense financially for us. And we live really close to his parents, which are able to help us with the kids, school, transport in the morning, after school. They live in Water's Edge, so it's very helpful to have them there. We like the neighborhood, we like the location, we like the current house as it is. We just are limited on space, is all it is.
Okay. How many bedroom is that?
Right now, it's 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
You're simply looking to go vertical and add a second story, correct?
That's it. We just want a couple more bedrooms and a bathroom. We just don't want 6 of us in 1 bathroom. And we have ages from 5 to 16 right now. So to be able to give, especially the older kids, their own space to go anywhere, they're teenagers, they don't want to be around us all the time. And having the split family and everything, new blended family is a lot, especially with a new baby coming into the picture. And we have 1 boy too, he's 8. I'd like him to have his own space. He's getting to an age where, he might be developing soon, so I'd really like him to be able to have his own space as well.
Okay. All right. Understand the family needs.
Yeah.
Are you aware of the restrictions that led you to come here?
Okay, so I've looked through online, because everything's available, right? I know that in what I've read says that each lot is supposed to be an acre, which ours is not, because whenever they parceled it off, that must have been a different ordinance. And the house as it stands now is technically outside of the ordinance because it's too close to the lot lines. So I do understand that. I looked it up, and from what I understood from talking to John, I've been communicating with John a lot. He's probably really annoyed at me.
Oh, he's a wealth of information. No.
I'm like,
He works for you.
I keep asking the same question. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I keep coming up because I don't want to spend a bunch of money to get a loan and go through all these steps if we can't even do what we're trying to do, basically. But I understand that if we go straight up, because the house where it sits right now is too close to the lot lines, it's not within the ordinance, right? It's got to be 20 feet, I believe, each side.
Yep, 50-foot front and back, 20-foot
Yeah.
sides.
So front and back were good, it's just the sides are tight.
Do they consider the front good? Is it to the right-of-way line or to the road? Because I think you're only 30 foot off the road right-of-way line.
Okay, I don't understand what that is, if you
Well,
don't mind.
you have the physical road.
Yes.
And the road sits within a road right-of-way, which they'll typically run public utilities, sewer, water, gas, electric, and
Okay.
stuff like that. So that can extend a good 20 foot beyond, 25 foot beyond each side of the road, be it paved or gravel.
Okay,
Right now, you have ditches on both sides.
yes,
And I noticed that your septic system is being held back by a wood retaining wall.
Yes.
Because you have a mound system, so you've got some challenging soils
yes, it
there.
is.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. If you wouldn't mind, I don't see where there's any public here that has any response or objections. We haven't received anything in the mail, have we? Okay. I would normally ask if there was any public opinion on the matter, but there's nobody here to say anything, so.
Yeah.
At this point, if you wouldn't mind, you can go ahead and take a seat. We're gonna have to, close the open portion of this meeting to discuss this a little bit
I
further.
have one other question.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
please.
so you are just extending vertically, you're not extending side to side?
Correct. We just
Okay.
want to go straight up because, I mean, we'd like to keep the little bit of yard that we have. I mean, we live where we live because we like our space, right, between each other. We're already kind of close right there, closer than we'd like to be. But with our situation right now, that seems like the best option for us. And it's not blocking anybody's view because Nancy, who was behind us, she's got the 40 acres. Both of our neighbors are very relaxed and we have a good relationship with them, so it seems like a good option for us.
All right, that's fine.
Have you already had some conversations with a builder?
I have spoken to builders just to kind of get a general quote to see if that would even be within our budget before we actually like meet and do a detailed quote and everything like that. I didn't really know how to go about this at the beginning, so I'm learning a lot through this process. Because before I even got an architect, I had found out, like I was trying to look for height restrictions because I know that can be a big deal too. And I know that we would still have to go through the environmental department too, outside of the building department and everything like that. So I've done research and tried to do as much as I can do and understand on my own.
Especially with environmental health on your septic system. They're likely
Right.
going to make you expand that. And I don't know
Okay.
that you got much room for that.
So, yes, because I had played with the idea before, about a year ago, before we got married, just to see. And I believe with the septic tank that we have, that's 1,500 gallons, we can have 5 bedrooms, which is what we would have, so we would be in compliance with that.
It's not the tank, it's the field.
Yes.
Okay, so it's the actual
The
field?
field itself
Okay.
grows proportionately with each bed and bathroom that you add.
Okay,
So
See,
I don't
that's-
know, I
okay.
don't know how, you can definitely tell when somebody has a mound system because they've got an.
oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
And yours isn't, it's not obtrusive or anything like that. I'm just saying, you're already tucked in with
It's
some very
tight.
tight property
yes,
lines.
it's already tight, is
Your
what you're
well's in the
saying.
back, correct?
The well's in the back, yes.
Okay, all right. The only other thing that I had noticed from the footprint, because you're not increasing your footprint,
Correct.
with the exception of the fireplace potentially, because you don't know where you're putting your fireplace, how you're gonna reroute that, do you?
Well, my husband had said, just seal it up and get rid of it.
Well, isn't that also discharging the exhaust from your furnace?
No, my exhaust from my furnace, I have a flue up top.
Okay, so that's.
So
gonna
that
be
goes
rerouted.
straight up,
That's
yeah.
gonna be rerouted up to the next
Yeah,
level.
the fireplace right now has an insert in it, and basically, it was there before when I moved in, and it's kind of just there as a backup if we lose power and we need a heat source. So it's not essential
So
to have.
it's already there existing, so we're not
It's
adding to that.
Yeah, my concern here is this is the side of the property that it's really tight.
Tight.
Yeah.
This
You're
is
only
with
3 foot
Sloan.
off the property line.
This is
Yeah.
with Sloan, right? The side with the easement?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if you've got an insert, you could literally pipe PVC piping right out the side of your house with,
Yeah.
with natural gas or propane.
Okay.
But if you're burning wood, they don't
Up.
want the
Because
ash.
of all the buildup from it and
They're
everything like
worried
that, the
about
reroute.
potential paper and stuff flying up your flue that might still be on fire.
Yeah,
And if they don't clear the peak of your roof, it could actually catch the house on fire.
okay, yep.
But if you get away from the wood burner, you might have more options.
So essentially, we could just take the wood burner out.
Oh, I thought your insert was, okay, so it's not. for
I
that.
mean, it's Brighton Stone or Brighton Fireplace. I can't remember the company.
Really doesn't matter that much.
They put it
I
in.
just didn't
We're
want to
not-
see you putting a 3 foot wide chimney on the side of your house and now you're right on your property line.
Right. So were you thinking that it would get extended outwards instead of just upwards?
Well, the
if
way,
anything?
see, it doesn't show, it barely shows on your one frontal view of your house.
Yes.
You've got 2 lines very tightly together, and it does say the chimney, but it also, I had to take my magnifying glass out to look at it. It says that this was a discussion that was gonna take place between the homeowner and the builder as to how you were going to do this.
Right. So we haven't decided anything on that. I mean, if it's to better stay within the ordinance and we don't have a chimney, that's not a priority. Like, space is a priority for us. Within this area, at this house, that's a priority for us.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Please.
Does that chimney exist today? It's there today? And it's and you don't have any intention to further encroach it on the property line?
No.
Okay. When you say that you're going vertical with your addition, and I'm sorry, it was just difficult for me to see based on the
I should have
plans.
brought the big plans.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
It's okay. It's not, I don't think it's really relevant because I'll just ask some questions and I think we'll get through it. Do you intend to like adjust the roof line at all? Or is it, the roof line's gonna
No.
stay pretty consistent?
We're trying to just keep it as simple as possible.
Okay, okay.
One, because it's cheaper, like, two, I'm trying to keep it simple in case for some reason, like, someone moves in down the road, they have more freedom with it, with whatever they do. Like, the simpler you keep it, the simpler it should be able to do. And we're not necessarily caring about aesthetics. We're more about functionality at this point. Like, I care more about what type of insulation we're using, where the bathroom vent is going, not into the attic,
Yeah.
to the outside. Like, things like that is what we are caring about.
You don't have a basement, do you? That's crawl, right?
Crawl. Yep, it's crawl.
I have a question for the deputy zoning administrator.
Have it?
So Carol, it notes that the variance request is because it's a legal nonconformity, not only from a setback perspective, but the size of the lot. And there's concern about it possibly going above the developed space, right? But if the applicant's going vertical, how does that go above the lot coverage?
There's no change in the lot coverage, it's just going up.
Right, so there's no change in lot coverage. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I understood.
And they are compliant there.
Yeah, correct, absolutely, yeah.
It's only
One of the
20%.
few things you're compliant
It's
with.
only 20%. I know, I'm like, okay, like, I'll see, what we can do, height restrictions. I'm like, we should be good on height. I'm trying to do the math by myself.
Yeah.
I'm not an engineer. But I'm like, man, this is really tight. And I'm like, man, it's supposed to be an acre. Oh my gosh, we're only supposed to have 20% like built on the property. I'm like, I don't even know what the house is now, And then when John had told me like it already doesn't comply, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a tight one. Like, we'll do what we can do, but.
I think the chair's correct. You probably want to check with Department of Health on your septic system.
Septic.
But I mean, that's not really for us to decide. That would be for them to decide. By the way, congratulations on your child. I mean, I personally, like, I don't, I know that, I mean, the zoning board of appeals is here for, I think, types of situations where the ordinance doesn't always fit, and I think, I think this makes sense, right? I think what the applicant
Well,
is
yeah.
looking for makes sense. So, I personally don't have any issues with it. You know, I mean, obviously from an aesthetics perspective, the outside, siding and stuff would all match and everything.
Oh,
correct?
yeah, that's the nice
okay.
part too, like, I mean, it sounds like Ken came out and it's a yellow. It's a really nice yellow, right, Ken?
So you're gonna get a whole new color?
Yes,
Okay,
like,
good.
this is like an excuse, right, to like, okay, we'll have the funds, we'll be able to budget that in, the builders are gonna wanna blend and everything like that, like,
Okay.
this is a reason for us to be able to do something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And make it more aesthetically pleasing, I mean, it's outdated, right, like, was built in the 70s, it's not horrible, but it definitely needs
Yeah.
love and attention and updates, so that's another reason for us to be able to do that.
Yeah. I think, Mr. Chair, from my perspective, if there was a desire from the applicant to further encroach into the setback space, or if there was a desire to further add to the lot coverage, I might have some concerns about it. But given the fact that the applicant's just going vertical and going up, and there isn't further encroachment on the setbacks, and there isn't a desire to further add lot coverage, I don't see a problem with it. I think it makes absolute sense.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. And I did look at the specs. This has some peculiarities to it, only because it's already non-compliant.
Correct.
But the areas of non-compliance really aren't changing.
Correct.
And if your house were to have burned down, to rebuild, you would have had to been compliant. That is in the law.
It would have been a 600 square foot house,
I-
maybe,
yeah, I
you
know.
know, like this.
But that's the way the code reads.
That's what John was telling me, like, why I needed to apply for
And-
a variance.
right,
Because anything you're building additionally has to be within the code, so that was my understanding, right?
Okay. Any other questions for the petitioner? No? Yeah, you can have a seat, thank you.
Okay,
We're gonna,
thank you very much.
we're
Thank
gonna
you.
close this portion of it to discuss it amongst ourselves. You brought up some great points. They were similar to the ones that I had on this.
And you have talked to your neighbors, right? Everybody's,
I mean, I had both their phone numbers too, so I had let them know, like, what our plan was before the letter was even sent out. They're more than welcome to come over, you know, ask me anything they want to, so.
Well, the notices went out to them, so
yeah.
they've had ample opportunity to
I don't see Nancy as much because she's on the
Way
other
in.
side, but.
way in the back. Okay. Either of you have any other comments on this whole
I
thing?
think yeah, it's kind of odd. I did a little homework looking up too, because it's different than what we normally run across.
It is, it's very much so. I
You're
mean,
challenging us.
yeah.
No, it's a good thing.
We're trying to work with what we're given here too, within our means.
I'm in agreement. I think she has fewer options. That's really her only option, or move.
But I will stress, that septic is huge. That can be a costly item too, especially when you're talking a raised field.
That, yeah, up to $10,000, $20,000 for septic.
Even more.
It's higher now?
Could
Oh, it's
be.
great.
Now,
Inflation.
again, if you can simply add on to it, maybe you're not looking at crazy numbers like
Yeah.
that. I just don't know where you got the room to do it.
Right.
That's
Because
my
we're
concern.
already so close to everything.
Right.
You're right next to your driveway, you're right next to your property line, you've got a wood retaining wall holding up part of
Right.
the field
Field.
area. So you're pinched in there pretty tight.
Right.
Yeah, if you want a bigger, I would,
I think my
Tackle that before it
first
got any
step
further.
for you, if this goes the way you hope it does, would be to make that, take your property dimensions and everything to the health department and see what they say.
And so, okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to take it step by step before investing a bunch of money and starting a project that I
right.
can't finish or I'm not in compliance with. I want to do things the right way, you know?
stay good and good with your neighbor too, because you might need her easement to access for some of your construction.
I know.
Okay, all right. If there's no other questions or discussions, I'd like to go ahead and see if there's any motions on this at this point.
I will have a motion to approve Bailey, Hessler, Tolentino, close. Sorry. ZBA 2025-01, parcel number 4706-05-202-019 at 4229 West Allen Road, Holland, Michigan 48855, to approve the variance to go upward.
Well, yes, actually, it's not a variance to go vertical, it's just a generalized variance because they're already non-compliant, so, yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I would put that.
Yeah.
How do I word that, Carol?
Just to approve the variance is
All right.
probably sufficient.
Okay.
Can I get a second here?
I'll say.
Very good. From our standpoint, you're allowed to go forward with what you're doing. Obviously, you have to submit everything back to the township.
Mr. Chair, we need a roll call.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes. Roll call, please.
Jim McAvoy,
Yes.
Ken Fundiger,
Yes.
Wayne Williams is absent, Carol Weaver,
Yes.
Matt Counts.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. As I mentioned, I would get with Jonathan on what he needs, but the health department should be a big, big factor here for you.
Big first. Okay, that's very helpful.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm learning as I go, so I'm trying to soak in and do everything, the right steps that need to be done, and do what I can to do it the right way.
Very good, very good. You're more than welcome to stay, or you can leave. It's totally up to you.
I've told my husband, I'm like, I always wanted to go to like a meeting.
You want to get away from 5 kids.
We don't have them right now, they're at mom's house, but we will this weekend, but I've always had an interest in stuff like this, so.
Tell them you have a garbage disposal. It adds some house square footage review.
Okay, let's move on to other business. I don't know if any of you happen to notice the ZBA annual report. Pretty straightforward. Just a lot of people wanting variances. A lot easier to digest when they're asking for just a couple feet instead of 15
I
or
know.
35.
It went from just me to
Well, the nice thing about yours, though, is the fact that you have the easement next door, so it's not like you got another house.
Right there, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Aside from just casual interest on that report, I don't see much else that we need to go over with that. Call to public.
My name is Bob Wilson, 2945 Brewer Road. I noticed that you don't have a call to the public at the beginning of your meetings, and I think you should have one. They put one on with the Planning Commission. For example, if there was somebody that opposed this lady here, their opinions should be able to be brought out at the beginning of the meeting instead of at the end after you guys vote.
Well, no, when I have public involved here, I
Right.
open the floor up at that time when I know it's relative to that particular
Right,
event.
but I'm just saying procedure, you know what I mean? They added it to the Planning Commission. There was some people came in that opposed something and, they didn't do a call to the public at the beginning. And they left, they were pissed off. And, they would have liked to have seen something at the beginning so they could voice their opinion before the vote was made.
Procedurally, is that the right way to do it, or?
Well, they had to make it a procedure at the Planning Commission, and when I seen your agenda and there's no call to the public, it doesn't, non-procedurally, yes, it's great that you ask people if they have any problem with it, but procedurally, I think it should be on paper,
Okay.
so.
Carol?
Mr. Chair, I think it's just a matter of looking at our bylaws for the zoning board of appeals and seeing if that's in the agenda or not, and if we need to add it. We might have to make a bylaw amendment.
Okay.
If the zoning board of appeals deems it appropriate to add a call to the public at the beginning, because you are correct, in a public hearing, the public has the right to speak on the subject at hand in the middle of a public hearing.
But procedurally, wouldn't it make more sense to have had the petitioner state their case first and then get the rebuttal from residents?
Not necessarily,
That-
because they
that's-
know what they're coming here for.
That's why it's a public hearing versus just a topic on the agenda.
Anybody that would, any of her neighbors, they would have been here. I mean, it goes out as a notice and everything else, and thank God nobody was here to, say no, but, I mean, procedurally, I think it's a lot better to have the public be able to speak their opinions before they go into it. They already know what she's here for. I'm not trying to use you as an example.
No,
It's an example, it's relevant.
no, what I was saying is some of their questions might get answered once they hear the whole story as far as how it's come about. And 9 times out of 10, I agree with you. They've just got some bone to pick and they don't want it. But,
Well, and then they don't get to speak until after you've already voted and approved I would have approved your stuff too, but.
I know
You know what
that
I'm saying?
in any instance that we've had something like this come up, we have opened the floor to the public, but typically it's been after we've heard the petitioner.
But before we vote.
Yes, definitely before, we consider it. We always want to take it under consideration. That's what I'm saying. That's all.
Ken, why don't I
Put it
look
black
at the
and white, so
bylaws
there's
and
never
see
no
what
question.
it says?
Yeah,
I'll take that.
I think that's great. Yeah.
I think it's great that you do that, you invite people to their opinion. At the planning commission, they didn't, I mean, it's all the way at the end, it's just too late, especially on storage containers, ADUs, stuff like that. But, I've seen how the planning commission meetings run now, and it seems a lot better with people being able to voice their opinion ahead of time. And then they'll leave.
Okay. So you do that after we get into all the other business?
What point do they do that in the other meeting? It's right after they approve the agendas and stuff like that.
Okay, so
Just look at the board meeting back and see where it comes in.
So right after old business? Kind of a scenario?
So it really is coming up at
Got a
pretty much the
question
same
from-
time, so that's fine.
That's where
I
we're
thought
saying
you were
maybe
saying that
put
we
it right
needed to
here.
do this on the onset of the meeting, like right after we do the Pledge of Allegiance or something.
Mi- Mr. Chair, I don't know if we're, this is a pretty interactive call to the public session, but the Zoning Board of Appeals has the ability to amend their bylaws, as I understand it, the way that they want to. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same way that the Township Board does it, nor the Planning Commission. It's simply up to us to decide if we want to add another call to the public session or not. On the board meeting agenda, it is after the approval of the agenda.
That would make sense. Okay.
Just my opinion.
All right.
I believe in people being able to voice their opinion.
Oh, definitely. No, it's definitely. Okay. All right. Well, that was our call to the public.
Good job, Bob.
All right. At this point, well, actually, on the back here, they don't even have it noted in here either, do they? So they would have done the call to the public at the very end, just before adjournment.
What, you
They
would,
do it again. right?
Mhm,
right,
mhm.
after all the decisions have been made.
Which doesn't make sense, I agree.
To me, it don't, I'm
No.
just making a suggestion.
No, if we want to consider what the public has to say, we need to do it before we take a vote.
That's my opinion, but yes, they changed it with the planning commission meeting, and I think things go a lot smoother. They come in the meeting, get it off their mind, and get out the door. And especially when there's no air conditioning in here, and people are sweating, it makes it a lot better.
Sure, sure. All right. At this time, if there's no other business to be taken care of, if somebody would like to make a motion to adjourn,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
any
I'll
seconds?
support.
Okay.
Want a roll call on that?
Well, I think we all agree.
I think we agree. Thank you, Carol.
But
You're welcome.
Do you want these off?
There are.
Do you want these off, Carol?